7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or watching this channel for the first time, what we do here is we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions, but not everyone uses logic. So, for that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I also have a much smaller YouTube channel called Latina Diaspora, where I discuss issues pertaining to Latinos living in the United States. The link to that channel is in the description. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Also, the subscriber note has been enabled for the first 5 minutes. Meaning, if you're not a subscriber and if you wish to enter a comment in the chat, you will need to subscribe to the channel. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who already subscribed to the channel. Whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or just recently joined, I really appreciate all your continued love and support. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who allow me to enter into your devices, as well as those who follow me on social media. I really appreciate your continued support, as well as those who allow me to enter into your devices, and those who watch from the clouds, even the haters. So, what I'm going to ask you to do, if you have not done so already, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and set the bell notifications to all. So, therefore, whenever I do create content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. So, tonight we're going to have another episode of Open Discussion. For those of you who are not familiar with what happens when we have open discussion, I will share my views regarding several topics. And of course, you, the audience, will have an opportunity to opine regarding any topic that I will cover. Also, I want to make it perfectly clear that the link to join the panel has been pinned. Anyone is welcome to hit that link and opine regarding any topic which I will discuss. As always, let me make it perfectly clear. If I never seen you before, if I never heard you before, I will insist that you come up in the backstage to make sure that no one flashes anything inappropriate, which will cause the people of YouTube to take down this stream. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is, of course, the topic is bring out the clowns. Now, what do I mean by that? Of course, we do have certain members of the collective, which I call the circus, who love to talk about issues because they lack the emotional security, intelligence to discuss them. Okay, excuse me. So, now why do I refer to them as clowns? Because, first of all, These are individuals that lack the intelligence, that lack the maturity to discuss issues with a certain amount of intelligence. Okay. And of course, I have the latest op. Now, the latest deflection that brought my way is regarding the fact that I'm supposedly undocumented. Now, first of all, it's just pure deflection on their part because obviously I am a U.S. citizen. Obviously, Puerto Ricans have been given citizenship for over 100 years. But this is coming from an incel where I don't know how they managed, but somehow they got kicked off of Rumble as well as getting kicked off of YouTube. Now, I don't know how that's done. Um, I suspect it probably has to do with content. Um, there are numerous community guidelines here, both on YouTube and on Rumble. How the heck you managed to get kicked off of Rumble and YouTube? You have to be basically a special type of incel to do so. But be it as it may, talking about that he's going to seek ice on me. First of all, obviously, this person is in need of therapy. This person needs to be placed in an involuntary observation period for 72 hours in a rubber room. So this person that's been identified as Mr. has been making his presence felt mainly at Miss Elite's lives. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, who is Miss Elite? She is a young YouTube creator, okay, who, from what I've seen, has been successful, okay, and she does create content, okay. Also, she expresses herself, and um, she's been someone that she has been allow me to enter her platform, and I will start to share her content as well. Okay. Now, in all fairness, there's some content I'm not going to share because some of her content it's a little bit off-putting. But you know something? The fact of the matter is, it is her platform. She has the right to discuss whatever topic that she wishes to talk about. Okay. But I will say this: while I may not always agree with her content, one thing I will acknowledge that she is a highly intelligent young lady, and she does have a successful platform. So I will suggest that you check out her content before you make whatever assertions regarding what type of individual she is. Now, let me just, now, of course, being that we are in May, and of course, we're soon be approaching Mother's Day. Now, when it comes to Mother's Day, for many people, Mother's Day is a happy time because we get to honor all the mothers, whether they be the biological mothers, the adopted mothers, um, all those great women that have played a positive female role model in our lives. Of course, the reality is that Mother's Day is also bittersweet because not everyone is blessed to have a positive relationship with their mothers. There are certain individuals that have been estranged from their mothers for whatever reason. And there are people like myself. Uh, Actually, good evening, Georgia. So that's basically this is open discussion. So basically, I'm just going to be discussing several topics. Lately, I've been talking about the fact that the clowns have been out there, and let's see. Oh, okay. Well, look, I'm sure um, you value your relationship with your mom, okay? And okay, and the fact of the matter is, right now I'm just giving you my Mother's Day reflections. I will be doing a shout out regarding the moms, okay? And of course, when we think of moms, I'm not just thinking about the biological mothers. I'm thinking about the adopted mothers, the grandmothers, the aunts, basically any woman that played a positive female image. Well, that's good. That's good. That's good because unfortunately, there's certain individuals that do not enjoy a healthy relationship with their mothers. Okay, there are people who haven't spoken to their mothers in months or even years. And one thing I will always state that if you find yourself in a situation when it's been a long time since you haven't spoken to your mom, well, if you have any conflicts with your mom, if you can, try to resolve them, okay? Because the worst thing that can happen is you allow resentment to fester to the extent that you do not reach out to your mom and try to reconcile. And what happens is sometimes um, the opportunity to be reconciled, if possible, goes away. And then there is a certain amount of guilt that's attached by not trying to reach out and reconcile to your mom when she's alive. Okay, let's see. Yeah. And then for some of us, like myself, Mother's Day is bittersweet because our mothers are no longer physically here. Okay. Now I see here we have a guest. So let me just state for the record that the views of those who appear on the panel does not necessarily reflect the host on the channel. Any attempt to copy material without the consent of the host is prohibited. By appearing on the call, you waive your rights to your image. Some of the views that people hold may be considered offensive to some viewers. If you do not like the content, you can block the channel. And I'll good evening.
Hey, good evening, Jose. So I'm going to talk as I'm putting up my clean dishes, if that's okay. Can you hear
Go
me
ahead.
just fine? Can you hear me just fine?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Even right now?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Just wanted to be sure, though, because, yeah, I am going to be moving a lot here in the kitchen.
Okay.
I guess we can see here. Yep. So, yep. As we already see, we have to put up some clean dishes, So how about I do
Yes.
this as we talk? So I like what you said, right? You know, in regards to how pretty much it'll be better to resolve whatever problem you may have with your mother or your parents or whoever, though, because of the fact that tomorrow is not promised, right?
Correct.
So I am very glad, by the way, that even when my father passed away, pretty much about, let's see here, pretty much 5.5 years ago, I'm glad that I found a lot of forgiveness in him, though. You know, I'm not going to put out his dirt, but needless to say, I still love my father to this very day, even though he has already passed on, though, because the last thing that you want to do is still carry on resentment and unforgiveness in your heart when your parent has already passed on, because all you're going to be doing, though, is chipping away at yourself a lot more than they got chipped away at, because for one, they're dead. But here you are still sinking in, you know, unforgiveness. That's like drinking poison and expecting somebody else to die, you know?
Yes.
So how does that make sense? So even me and my mom at a time before in the past, we very much had a complicated relationship too, for understandable reasons. However, me and her speak every single day. Every single day. I also drove her to the airport today because, as I said in the chat, she is a traveling businesswoman who has traveled to all these different countries. And other than that, the interaction was fine. So I guess for the quote-unquote haters who are saying, oh, Jordan, does your family even love you, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that's the dumbest question, because all you have to do is look at my page and that'll answer the questions. Even in regard to my mother too. So hate to crush people's egos, you know?
Yeah. Well,
what's up?
Well, according to one app, my family's dead.
What? Say again?
According to one app, my family's dead. I mean, they look well for ghosts, don't you think?
Oh yeah, your nephew too is looking very sharp.
No, but you know, Mother's Day is also pretty sweet for those of us whose mothers are not physically alive.
Mm-hmm. Well, my mom is alive and well. She's pretty much your age, and like I said, however she feels about things, I'm just going to have to just, you know, be the kind of son to agree to disagree. But needless to say, I still respect where she comes from, because we have to look at it even like this. She was born and raised in what workplace? Yes, Natchez, Mississippi. She was born in the late 50s, right? So from the late 50s up until almost the mid 70s, that was her entire world during her formative years, right? So therefore, she's going to think and feel a certain way about things. Now, she's changed a lot. She's also improved a lot, right? However, you know, our environments and what our upbringings were like during our formative years are also going to shape the way we may think too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Look at me, dude. I'm 32. I was born in the Bay Area, California. Berkeley, San Francisco, Richmond, California. Obviously, I'm going to feel and think differently. Same as my dad, since he grew up in Richmond, California.
Yeah. I just want to acknowledge narratives and dialogues in the chat. Good evening. I think this is his first time here.
Oh, hey, narratives and dialogues. Yes, nice to meet you. I'm Jordan.
Yes.
Don't mind me. I just need to put up some clean dishes, you know, here in this kitchen. It's
okay. Now, in my situation, it's going to be 5 years since my mother passed away. So, you know, it's kind of it is bittersweet, but she lives in my heart, and the best way I can honor my mother's memory is to be the best version of myself.
Mm-hmm. Same. Because also you got to look at it like this when it comes to the gospel of Jesus. What is it about? Transformation, right? So that ties
Yes.
into becoming a better version of yourself. Redirection, right? And restoration. If we're not really seeing any of that stuff, you may want to question your walk. Because this whole thing is
That
about a transformative hey, Irby, what's going on? Don't mind me, Irby. I'm
good
just
evening, Evan.
putting up dishes as we speak. But as I was saying, all that stuff ties into what you just said now, Jose. Be a better version of yourself. Because if we're not embarking upon like a transformative journey, I would really question your walk. And that goes for everybody. You guys know who you are. So, think about it.
Yeah. I mean, look, actually, if you're truly been born again, there should be some positive fruit that's been developed.
All about the fruit of the Spirit. If people ever were to read the whole chapter of chapter 5 in the book of Galatians, what's the fruit of the Spirit? Long suffering, goodness, patience, humility, right? Being sweet, and you can even slap on sexual purity too in that mix.
Yes.
Those are the fruits of the Spirit. If all you're doing almost all the time is displaying the fruit of the flesh, I would seriously question your walk, okay?
Yep.
Am I saying that we're going to be perfect? No, because as long as we are these spirits in this physical vessel, there still is going to be some sin, some issues going on here. However, people can also still see whether you are practicing self-control, which is also another characteristic of the fruit of the Spirit. So we'll see that, whether you are practicing the fruit of the Spirit, because as far as I can see, I don't think so.
Yeah. I think it's abundantly clear by some of these individuals here in these YouTube streets.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's not gossiping. That's not talking any mess about anybody, though, because for one, I stand to be corrected, Jose.
No.
So I do.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that if I can see that you're trying to correct me about something because you're trying to, uplift me, I'll be able to tell. It's the same way how, me and Gigi have had moments where me and her have respectfully disagreed with one another or respectfully begged to differ. Mm-hmm. That's fine. It's just she made it very clear that one thing that she does struggle with is forgiveness. That's okay. Thing is that I'm just trying to be like a good brother in Christ and say that, well, that's okay. I'm willing to meet you where you are, but I am going to keep you, in my prayer closet so that ultimately you can learn to forgive people, even though, don't get me wrong, that's going to be a very hard thing. But I'm here to, support you and have love for you in the process because it's going to be a while.
Yeah. Well, there's a difference if you're struggling with forgiveness, because that implies that at least you are willing to forgive as compared to unforgiveness.
Yeah. I mean, you guys already see what I've gone through for all these years when it came to like a lot of those half-truths and obviously a lot of slander too. But guess what? Do I forgive them? Absolutely. Because God sees them with equal value too. It's just they're lost. And what are lost people going to act like? Lost people. It's just they don't really see that just yet because they are just so consumed with their flesh and their demons. Not me. Mm-hmm. Not me.
Well,
so all you can do is pray for their deliverance. And even if they were to, make a video, being very humble and repentant, you best be sure that I'm going to go there and like the video and share it. Now, are we going to be friends? No. But I am
Yeah.
going to support the video, though, because I like humility. And what does God exalt? Humility.
Yes. And the fact of the matter is, there's a difference between forgiveness and restoration. Forgiveness just basically means is that you are not allowing the hurt to continue to dwell rent free inside of you. It does not
Right.
mean we're going to have restoration. It does not mean we're going to have a kumbaya moment. It just means that we're moving on.
That's right.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean reconnection. It's much like saying this: apology accepted, but access denied.
Correct. And speaking about that, I don't know if you're familiar with a YouTube creator called Miss Elite.
Yeah, she knows me. She follows me and I follow her. Yeah, what about her?
Okay.
She's
Well,
never
she's
gave
been
me any problems.
she's been dealing with a unique individual that she addressed as Mister. Um, so he's been trying to be a thorn in her side.
Oh, really?
Yes, and this person actually had the nerve to question my status.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think you. Oh, that guy who goes by Mister.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that guy. Well, I find that hard to believe, though, because even if you were actually born on the island, what difference does it make? It's U.S. territory.
Yes. Well, actually, this person has the unique distinction, having been removed from Rumble and having multiple channels deleted on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. That's what you and Dawn were telling me about.
Yeah.
So, all right. So now I have to put up some dirty dishes and load them into my dishwashers. But keep in mind that you can continue.
Yeah. So I mean, look, I don't harbor any ill will. It's just that unfortunately this individual, for whatever reason, has issues that needs to be addressed. So instead of trying to troll Miss Elite and troll me, what he should do is try, deal with whatever issues that he has and seek therapy and try to be a better version of himself.
I really like how you can actually edify somebody in that way, though, because like when you gossip about somebody, you're pretty much trying to drag them down. Though you don't uplift them, you don't pray for them, you don't do any of that stuff. But here you are, Jose. Respect to you, man, is that you actually are seeking out his well-being and his redemption.
Yes.
People who gossip are not going to do that. So yeah, we may call you out on your name, though, but that's just us loving you enough and caring about you enough to say that it's time to grow up. So I guess there's this guy who goes by Mister, who is basically calling you an illegal. Well, you ought to be corrected about that, and then you need to think about why you even got banned off of a platform like Rumble, which is all about free speech. So he had to have done something extreme, right, in order to get banned. It's much like that other girl who went by Smiles on here, and because I know that she got one of her accounts deleted too. But even when it comes to her, I hope that even accountability can hit her too, if it already hasn't, though. Because she also calls herself like a Catholic too. But one thing I give the Catholic Church credit about is that they do demand a high standard of conduct. So
Yes. That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. And one thing we have to bear in mind: there are
Right.
Catholics who do not know the Lord, and there's Catholics that do.
Just as much as there are, like, I guess, quote unquote Protestants who know the Lord, and plenty who don't.
Yes, that is true. But
All I would just say to them is that read Matthew, Mark, 1 John, 2 John, 1 Corinthians, and that'll give you a foot in the door in terms of learning about the Lord.
yes,
Or more importantly, Book of Acts. That's another one too.
of course, those of us that know the Lord, we need to be mindful, and we need to walk humbly.
Right.
Okay. And one thing we don't want to be like the Pharisee in the parable, where the Pharisee and the tax collector went to the temple to pray. I mean, the Pharisee, and I'm not just paraphrasing. Basically, he said, "Well, God, I'm glad I'm this. I'm glad I'm that." It's basically it's me, 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 and me.
Mm-hmm.
Where the tax collector, on the other hand, all his prayer was, "God, be merciful to me. I'm a sinner."
Yep. I do remember that parable, but I think even the tax collector was called what you call a publican too. So depending
Yes.
on the Bible translation, but yeah, same thing. But yeah, it's also important not to get so caught up in that religious spirit too.
Yeah.
That's not the Holy Spirit. That's a demonic spirit.
Yep.
Can't have both. It's all about, the gospel is all about balance too. More importantly, though, like, don't be like that pretty pony pastor or whoever who likes to send people home with a bowl of sugar, meaning that they can just continue to live as they want to live and just not really change. But then at the same time, don't be this hyper religious nut job who knows the word of God but does not have the heart of God and does not have love for others.
Yes, because there's the there's the law, and then there's the spirit, and then there's the spirit. I mean, look, unfortunately, one can easily become extremely judgmental and think about the letter of the law and not think about the spirit of the law.
And it also says, and also a lot of people like that say stuff like how you have to be absolutely sinless. You have people who do that. But if you read 1 John chapter 1 to verse 8, it does read, if you say you're without sin, the truth is not in you. And it says, yeah, actually, I know it by heart. So, I remember. If you say you're without sin, you deceive yourself and the truth is not in you. So,
Correct.
I thought you said that we had to live sinless, Mr. Religious Spirit. So you might want to explain that verse because it's pretty self-explanatory.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, the goal is to try to live as perfect as possible. The reality is that we're not. I mean, we're going to fall short.
Yeah. I can still hear you.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
So, of course, the next thing I'm thinking about is eventually when I will retire.
Retirement?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I have set up tentatively when I plan to retire.
Mm-hmm.
I plan to retire once I reach 65.
Nice.
So So with unless the good Lord has other plans for me, once I reach 65, that's when I will officially plan to retire.
Nice. Cool, man. I'm about a good 33 years away from something like that.
Yeah. Well, I will be 63 in October. So unless the good Lord has other plans, I plan to retire at the end of 2027.
Nice. Yeah. I'm hoping within the next year, man, that I get the opportunity to travel to Israel.
Well, that sounds nice.
Yeah, Israel, the apple of God's eye.
Anywhere in Israel you plan to visit? Because there's Jerusalem, there's Bethlehem, there's
Tel Aviv
okay,
and
yes.
Nazareth. We know Jesus, the Lord, was raised in Nazareth, though, but he was born in Bethlehem. And honestly, I actually have been learning just a little bit of Hebrew, by the way. So you know what Brit Hachadashah? You know what that means, right? Brit Hachadashah.
Okay,
It
you
means
have me at a disadvantage.
it means New Testament. I've actually learned it from this one Messianic Jewish guy who is actually evangelizing over there in the Jerusalem area, by the way. So he's
Okay.
bringing awareness to his people, though, that your Messiah has been here all along and he's alive and well. Because you have a lot of people over there, though, who, have not really accepted the Son of God just yet. That's a fact. However, if the Lord can use somebody like him as a vessel to reach the unreached over there, then good.
Why do you think many of the Jewish people have a hard time accepting Jesus as the Messiah?
I would say in modern terms, though, it just has a lot to do with upbringing, because a lot of the Jews over there were raised like either very secular to where, they just didn't really know God like that at all, though, or they were listening to a lot of the rabbis who were saying that, no, this man here is not the Messiah, though, and bowing down to him or acknowledging him as the Son of God, or at least an important part of the Godhead, would be idolatry. A lot of them over there feel that way, but a lot of that is just a part of the tenets of Orthodox Judaism. But I was actually going to pick up my phone, right, and read a chapter, by the way, from Isaiah 53. And this is also something that Jeff Morgan, who is this Messianic Jewish guy, brings up to his people over there in Israel, by the way. So you know what Isaiah 53 verse 5 is?
What happened to do with the suffering servant?
Has to do with the what?
The suffering servant.
You are so spot on. And speaking of the devil, hey, Miss Elite, it's Jordan.
Good evening, Miss Elite. Thank you for stopping by.
Elite.
We was just talking about your thorn, Mister.
Miss Elite, howdy.
But please continue, Jojo.
By the way, so the Isaiah, I say heading out, but wanted to show support. Yeah. It's really great to hear from you, Miss Elite, though. It's great to hear from you. And keep up the good work, though. And also remember to encourage Angler to stay strong. He could use the uplifting, by the way. But to this day, Miss Elite,
first of all,
Angler.
Well, first of all, thank you for stopping by, even if you just staying, for a little bit. I hope you enjoy your evening. Please
But yeah,
continue, Jojo.
and she says, definitely will on Angler. Yep. That whole thing in Miss Elite goes back to 2023. But yeah, I'll continue, Jose. You are honest. You're honestly spot on. But this is what this Messianic Jewish guy always presents to his people over there in Israel, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? Isaiah 53, verse 5, it's in the Tanakh, the Jewish Bible, the Bible that even the rabbis and the Orthodox Jews over there use. It's in the Tanakh. That's what they call it, the Tanakh. So you want to read? So you want me to read it?
Yes, follow me.
So it says, so Isaiah 53, verse 5 says, but he was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement that brought us peace was upon him. And with his wounds, we are healed. Who does that sound like?
Jesus.
You want to know something, though, when Jeff is asking these questions to the people in Jerusalem, he will ask them this question. Is that from the Old Testament or the New Testament? You want to know what they say?
What?
New Testament. And then he has to correct them and say that, no, that's actually from the Tanakh, and that was 700 years prior to Jesus. And Jose, they look very stunned. So a reason why a lot of people over there don't know Jesus and will not accept him, because people are not telling people about that verse. So can we see what's going on here? That sounds, and you know what? Even they're saying that, oh, that sounds like Jesus. That has to be from the Brit HaChadashah, which means New Testament in Hebrew.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to know what else he presents them with is that one Bible verse from Micah chapter 5 to verse 2. You want me to read it now?
Yes, go ahead, please.
So Micah 5 verse 2 states this. Let me read it. Okay, I found it. So it says, but you, Bethlehem Ephrathah, though you are small among the clans of Judah, out of you will come for me one who will be ruler over Israel, whose origins of old, from ancient times. Okay, who is that talking about?
Jesus.
And where was Jesus born in?
Bethlehem.
Do you see what's going on here? And do you see why a lot of those Orthodox rabbis are just avoiding those verses that's even in their own Tanakh?
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Can we see what's going on here, Jose?
It seems like deflection, don't you think?
Yeah. So even in the chat, so just even you can write it down if you want to, Jose. That one is from Micah chapter 5 to verse 2, and then the other one was from Isaiah chapter 53 to verse 5. So people want to say so people are wondering, is Jesus in the Tanakh? Yes, he is, because I just read him off in the Tanakh, not the Brit HaChadashah.
Yes.
But that's okay. Jeff, he's a cool Messianic Jew. I love him very, very much. And I actually cannot wait to travel over there to Tel Aviv and Jerusalem to also visit the Holy Church of the Sepulchre, which is where Jesus was also crucified at Calvary, and it also has his empty tomb where he was buried and then rose. So it'll be really great to bring it up. Oh, Miss Elise says he has this memorized. Yeah, I actually have memorized a lot of scriptures of Miss Elise, though. Yes. So if people want to know, it's Isaiah 53, verse 5. That mentions that is prophet Isaiah prophesying Jesus's crucifixion 700 years prior to his life here. And then the other one was from Micah chapter 5 to verse 2, where Micah pretty much prophesied that he was going to be born in Bethlehem. So, yeah. Bible study is really fun and really good. So I think it's really great to not only just have a lot of head knowledge of it, but make sure you transfer all that head knowledge to your heart, because that's what's going to matter the most.
That is very true. I find it very interesting, this point that you're making. But when you think about it, in the time of Jesus, I mean, basically, a lot of the Jew. Okay, I'm not gonna a lot of the Jewish people, they were expecting someone via, a la Moses or
Mm-hmm.
David,
Or
and they were
somebody
looking,
else.
yeah,
So Miss Elite Jassy. So Miss Elite, I will say this: I don't. But I do go every Sunday, but I know how there's a huge debate over it actually being on Saturday, but it's complicated a bit, But I have gone to a few Saturday sessions before, though. But my community, for whatever reason, they're not really doing that at the moment, though. But there's another church that has Saturday services. So that church is called Central Church, which is in Henderson, Nevada. But they do it. But yeah, people can choose to go either both on Saturday and Sunday. To each their own.
yeah,
But yeah, it's complicated.
yeah. It is complicated, particularly when you have people who were Catholic and then they leave, and then sometimes when they preach about the experience, they tend to be extremely judgmental when they come to Catholics.
Mm-hmm. Now keep
I
talking.
mean, unfortunately, it seems like some of them exhibit some wounds that they experience dealing with Catholics.
There we go. Sorry, I had to get some light in here.
Yeah.
Dark, but carry on.
I mean, look. I mean, I'm not gonna lie and say everything about Catholicism is perfect. No,
Mhm.
because basically, there is quite a bit of accountability that we have to accept.
That goes for everybody, though, because even all throughout the Old and New Testament, what's one of the greatest principles and virtues, and Old and New? Personal accountability.
Yes. But going back, I mean, I am looking forward to the day when I am able to retire and enjoy, um, you know, the fruits of my retirement, which will actually give me a lot of free time to do some things. Um, One of the things I'm seriously considering doing is visiting patients in the hospital and sharing my time with them,
Awesome.
visiting.
Mm-hmm. I think it'll be great to even share the gospel with them too, especially if you might end up with like a terminally ill man or woman. I think you ought to go in for it, Jose, though, because the Lord is going to use that person's position to finally get their soul saved.
Yeah.
So if the Lord can use you as a vessel to reach that person who is terminally ill, I think you would do great in that.
Yeah.
As much
And
like
I
you said,
think,
you'd rather be a disciple.
yeah. And I think part of the problem that Catholics have a hard time embracing um, being saved. But when you think about terms like being in a state of grace, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, what is being in a state of grace? Being born again.
Exactly. I do have now, much like I do have a lot of my criticisms, even on people who want to call it the Protestant church, you know, I have for sure have a lot of my criticisms on the Protestant churches too. But I even do have my criticisms even on the Catholic and Orthodox Church too. Jose, you want to hear it? You want to know why?
Go ahead.
A lot of Catholic and Orthodox churches prioritize the liturgies, and they don't prioritize evangelism. Like, they're not going out there, praying for people. They're not really going out there to evangelize. So they're not doing what Jesus called us to do during the Great Commission, which is in Matthew chapter 28 to verse 18 to 21, where he talked about the Great Commission right after his resurrection. And what did he say during the Great Commission? Go out there and evangelize and make disciples and baptize people in all nations. Though you do not see, I'm not saying that there aren't any, but a lot of Catholic and Orthodox churches, they're not really doing that though at all. They're more being like the Church of Ephesus. Whereas, yeah, they're doing some great stuff in there. They're getting into prayer and everything, but there's no love and there's no sharing the gospel with others though. Not really encouraging other people around them to be disciples. But what I do on the street, man, is the epitome of somebody who wants to live by what Jesus was talking about in the Great Commission. Whereas you are going out there and being that street disciple. You are being like people of the Thessalonian church, the early church before any denomination could ever be conceived of, The Thessalonian church, they actually went out there and evangelized in places like Achaia, that region in Greek, and they even did that in Macedonia as well. And they even financially supported Paul, Apostle Paul, too, when he was going out there to do his thing. You don't see the Orthodox or Catholic churches doing that a lot. Not saying that there aren't any, because we have like Catholic charities, Catholic hospitals, amazing. But if we really want to think about it, you can see why they prioritize more of like the ritualistic prayers and sacraments. And with nothing wrong with sacraments, but definitely they prioritize tradition and liturgies over going out there.
Well, there are certain movements in Catholicism that actually going out there to witness.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that among my brethren, they tend to think that, well, that's the role of the clergy, when they don't realize that all of us have a calling to be a witness to those who are in darkness.
Yes, exactly. Because you do know in that one chapter in 1 Corinthians, Paul talks about how we are all given a spiritual gift. The gifts are given to born again believers, though. So you, Jose, are you a born again believer? Are you?
Yes, I am.
What's up?
Yes, I am.
And so therefore, Paul said in that book in 1 Corinthians that because you are actually who you say you are, as far as being that born again believer, you have a spiritual gift that was given to you by the Holy Spirit to be able to use that gift to reach the unreached. Mm-hmm. And I know the Holy Spirit has already given me my gift. And why do you think that every woman I talk to out there ends up getting reached? Why?
Because basically what you're doing is you're talking about a Jesus that saves, a Jesus that restores. You're not talking about a Jesus that condemns, or a Jesus that's very judgmental.
Exactly, because let me tell you one experience that happened with me and this one woman whom I witnessed to, by the way. Now, like, me, I'm not going to say her real name, but the other girl, her name was Shelly, right? So when I encountered Shelly, right when I was talking about how, hey, Shelly, what the world calls discarded, God calls daughter. Why did she start trembling though? Almost like a angel jumped in her and gave her a huge sense of hope and redemption. Why? Why did that happen?
Well, I mean, I suspect the reason why is that all throughout her life, she's probably been had very poor self-esteem. So here is a person that basically is sharing the agape love that we all know of,
Right.
that that's very transformative.
Exactly, though. And not only that, though, but I'm not going to, obviously, I don't want anybody to see what I wrote, but clearly, oh, oops, but clearly you can, I just wanted to show the camera just to see whether you can really see any writings in there. There we go. Oops. Because clearly, but let me tell you this. I pretty much record down every encounter, by the way. It's all in this
Hmm.
book. And I will tell you what Shelley said here, right? Because I write down and record every encounter. This is what I wrote about what she was saying, right? And based on what I learned, she said this, or this was her. So she said this: homeless, hungry, edified, blessed, said she won't forget about me.
Hmm.
It says, woman blessed with $5 said the man with her was having diabetic issues. Another one says, I said she was blessed, edified, and asked me for a hug, told her about rehab, said she was once a drug and alcohol counselor, but relapsed and ended up in a vulnerable spot. She was well spoken, is from Juneau, Alaska, is older. She waved me down. So there we
Hmm.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then one woman says, from New Jersey, asked me what my ethnicity was, learned about the Word of God, said how I was going to make her cry, asked me, what do I have to do upon financially blessing her? I said, nothing. She was happy that she could finally eat. So, and tomorrow night, Jose, there'll probably be more people in this book. And by the way, can you see how? Oh, by the way, this is the book that my sister gave me, the girl in the video that you guys saw
Yes.
on my short. See how this? She gave me this book that has all the
Hmm.
crosses on it.
Yes.
So yeah, and I've told my sister that I've just been recording in here. So yeah, it's
Hmm.
coming Saturday. There's
Yeah.
going to be some more names in here. I hope.
Hmm. And believe me, I have seen. Look, I have seen Catholic laymen lead altar calls. I have seen Catholic priests lead altar calls. I even witnessed a bishop who made an altar call.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, one thing, if you understand anything about Catholicism,
Uh huh.
Catholicism is steeped in tradition, and sometimes it takes a long time for change to occur. But the fact that I actually witness a Catholic bishop made an altar call, and his name was Jacobs, who was the head of the diocese of Alexandria, Louisiana.
Wow. That's beautiful, Jose. And yeah, that's why you call yourself the exceptional Catholic.
Hmm.
Because if a bishop has to make an altar call like that, okay. But the thing is, there's nothing wrong with that because, for one, he still is another sinner like you and everyone else.
Yeah.
That man is not
Well,
God.
no, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is,
Oh, yeah. I know what you mean, though. It's just, I know what you meant by that. And I'm sorry if I was trying to make it seem like. Basically, I'm sorry about any misunderstanding, Jose. Sorry about that.
no, it's okay. It's just that it's 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 unheardable. Okay, it's one thing for a Catholic layman to lead an altar call. It's another thing, maybe a priest, but a bishop. It's okay. It's okay. I would say outside of Catholicism, it's ordinary, but for us, it's a big deal. Um, but the fact of the matter is, like as you stated, he's a person just like everybody else with all his imperfections and what have you. I was just blessed to actually saw a bishop leading an altar call.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, that's where it goes back to that one Bible verse from First John, where it says that you do have sin in you, though. So if you want to lay your sin down at the altar, please do. Even if you happen to be a pastor or a bishop or a deacon or bishop
Yeah,
or priest.
exactly. Like one of the things I'm considering when I retire is to become a deacon.
I would honestly be down for that, by the way, though, because you want to know who one of the greatest deaconess or a deaconess, I guess a female deacon,
Mm-hmm.
was in the Bible. Guess her name.
You got. I have no idea.
Phoebe.
Oh, okay.
Phoebe. She was a deaconess.
Mm-hmm.
And they say that women cannot have any kind of role in the church. If that's the case, what was Phoebe doing being a deaconess if
You know
women can
what?
do that?
That's a very controversial topic. Okay, because I know like in some Protestant circles, a female deacon or a female pastor is definitely a no-no.
Mm-hmm. And being a pastor, that's a little bit different. A pastoral role, I can understand that though, but you have people in both Protestant and Catholic churches straight up saying absolutely no women in ministry at all, not even as a deaconess.
Okay.
Well, the
One thing
problem
I
is,
can.
why was Phoebe a deacon though? And not only that, but she was clearly commissioned for that role by God to be a deacon. So if she can't be a deacon, if women can't be not even a deacon, then what was she doing?
Yeah, very good question.
People can read about her in the book of Romans.
Mm-hmm.
And she was also one serving in the church of Synchria. So oh yeah, look at Miss Elite though. See Miss Elite. Miss Elite. You get it, dude, don't you? You get it. And I just joke about it though, because like I said, if you guys read the book of Romans, which is where the deaconess Phoebe was mentioned in, she served at the church of Synchria. I'm dead serious. It's even in the Catholic
Mm-hmm.
Bible too. This isn't just coming from me. It's in any Bible version that you want to read, okay? Doesn't matter. So what was she doing? Serving in the church as a deacon and then being honored for that. I think we got a problem here if you're saying that women cannot serve at all. Don't you think? So what's going on? I thought you said that women cannot serve in any capacity. Well,
Okay,
Jose, I thought they
women. Okay, women. I'm sorry, women can definitely serve. Okay. Now, as far as what capacity, I mean, first of all, not okay, not all. Okay, how could I say this without sounding sexist or whatever? Um, Women can definitely serve, but there's so many different roles.
exactly. Women's ministries is great where a woman is directing it, but she doesn't have to be a pastor for that.
No, I mean, look. She could. I mean, she could be. She can teach Sunday school. She can be like an administrator, so to speak, or like a trustee. I mean, there are many roles that a woman can serve in the church. Okay, Georgia, are you there?
Oops, I'm sorry. I accidentally unmuted myself. Sorry, and I was
Okay.
actually talking too. Wow, I now have to repeat everything that I said after I accidentally muted myself. And I said that a lot of people use that one verse from 1 Timothy 2, verse 12, which states, I do not permit a woman to teach or assume authority over a man. She must be quiet. Well, that was Paul's letter to the church of Ephesus about women in that church who were being disruptive. But he did not apply that to any other church at the time. But then you have people using that verse to say that, you see, this is why women cannot be ministers at all, though. They must be quiet and let the man do everything. On the contrary, if that were the case, then Phoebe wouldn't have been doing what she was doing in the church of Synchria.
My issue is not women serving in ministry. My issue is trying to serve in a calling in the ministry where she is not called to do.
Exactly.
Okay? Like for example, she might not be called necessarily to be a minister, but she might be called to deal with the financial side of the ministry,
Mm-hmm.
or even with the clerical. So I don't have a problem per se with a woman serving as long as you know she is in serving in the area that God wants her to serve.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's
Exactly.
some women that in the music ministry when unfortunately they don't have the anointing to be in music ministry. They may have the anointing to be, say, to take care of the business side or the administrative side, but not
Mm-hmm.
not in music ministry.
Exactly. It's kind of what the thing is that you don't want to call yourself to something though, because I mean God will allow it to happen though, but He will allow it to show you what the consequences are for self callings.
Exactly. So, which is why, and this is could be applied to both male and female. You really got to be led by Lord uh, to whatever ministry that you're being called to, and be humble enough to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Exactly. Then you will also know whether you are, if curious, so Miss
yeah.
Elite stock. So getting credit hours to the hospital now goes towards my class program. Nice. Cool. I hope that continues to go very well for you.
Yeah, I mean, look, let me tell you something. I've been dealing with Miss Elite briefly. One thing about her, I mean, I would consider her to be extremely intelligent.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's true. I remember like back in 2023, Miss Elite and I were talking about, by the way, the whole topic of fat phobia. Remember that, Miss Elite? We're talking about fat phobia and that kind of stuff, and how people are uh, putting it on the same equivalency as being a racist.
Uh,
Yeah,
remember,
and
remember,
this in 2020.
remember the live I did regarding Fat Pride with Visions of Asia.
Yes.
And look, she inspired me because as a person dealing with morbid obesity, I wanted to bring some sanity into the discussion and stating that being morbidly obese is not a flex.
Yeah. Well, apparently nowadays it is a flex. So, like, you can go and Google an article online saying that you can, what is it called? Yeah, you can Google some article which said that New York is going to be considered the first place to pass an ordinance to ban fat phobia.
Oh, golly.
I could actually find it. It's just so funny, Jose. But yeah, how would you imagine that the city that you live in is considering it? New York may
I
pass.
mean, it's basically inspiring me to leave.
Really? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I actually just found something though I'm going to actually read something, Jose. You're not going to
Okay.
like it. You're not
Okay,
going to
go
like
ahead.
it. You're
Oh,
not
go
going to
ahead.
like it. I'm worried that you might break your lease, so you won't break your apartment lease if I tell you.
Well, I own my apartment, so
Okay. Okay, basically what I just found right here, it says New York City has already passed an ordinance banning discrimination based on weight, effectively addressing. Sorry, my alarm went off. Let me start over. So it says New York City has already passed an ordinance banning discrimination based on weight, effectively addressing fat phobia. The city's human rights law now prohibits height and weight discrimination in employment, housing, and public accommodation. The law was signed into effect on May 26, 2023. So, yeah, basically, Jose, if you're being a fat phobe, you're being a racist. Okay? It's like being a racist in your city. You can look it up now.
well, I
Uh-oh.
think Miss Ali said it very well. We can't change race. We can't be changed.
But can you believe that, Miss Elite, though? So, Miss Elite, wherever you live, wherever you're living now, what if they were to pass a anti-fat phobia ordinance in your neck of the woods to where you can't talk about how you can't change race, but you can change weight? And what if you were to get a knock on the door, basically receiving a fine, and then you say it again, and then you get arrested? In this day and age, Jose, I would not be surprised if that were to ever come to fruition. It can. I think it would be
I
naive
mean,
to wouldn't,
I mean,
because
what? I mean, what's next? A law stating that you can engage in intercourse with a dog.
ugh, ugh. Or better yet, you're a man who took um, doses of estrogen, but you're now being called Woman of the Year. Well, imagine if I took estrogen and I guess, quote unquote, transition, Jose, and now all of a sudden I'm Woman of the Year, and you better respect that. How are you going to feel?
like 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 if this it, I mean, have the world gone crazy?
And now your city basically said that being fat phobic is like you, Jose, being a racist. And then after all, weren't you already being wrongfully accused of being a racist? They might get you, man. So you might be careful over there in New York.
Oh boy.
Man, I'm sorry to read you that bad news about how your city already passed anti-fat phobia legislation.
Well, considering how woke New York is, I'm not all that surprised.
So yeah, Jose, If you're being fat phobic and you're talking like how Miss Elite is talking about, then you're being a racist. So I guess
Well,
with all your quote unquote ops are saying about you, maybe you are.
well, I mean the latest. I mean the two latest things is all my siblings are dead, and I'm undocumented.
I'm glad it's stuff that we can all get a kick out of,
And this is coming from a person that got kicked out of Rumble and YouTube.
I'm really curious as to what exactly was he doing that caused him to get booted off of Rumble.
Maybe that's something that Miss Elite might want to do some research on as far as why. I don't know. Only she can answer that question.
Yeah, Miss Elite, you're more than welcome to pop up here if you'd like, though. Or you can
Yeah.
continue to type, your choice.
Well, yeah, it's exactly. Well, speaking of father, did you see Gigi's latest video regarding woman actually said the N-word to a 5-year-old black child?
I saw the video. That woman's name is Shiloh. I saw the video, but I didn't see Gigi's video.
Okay.
I think I missed that one. I ought to check it out.
Yeah. I think that's probably the reason why he got kicked out of Rumble and YouTube.
Why was he saying a bunch of slurs or something?
Talking about doxing. Yeah, I feel bad for the child. I mean, look, no 5-year-old should have to be the subject of racism or
abuse. It's abusive behavior towards a kid. Now, I will probably make a video about it myself, though. But I will say this, though, on both sides of the matter, and this is coming from like a Christian perspective. I'll say this, Jose, about that incident. Yes. I will say that it's unacceptable to threaten this woman's life and her family's life. Mm-hmm. Uncalled for. However, at the same time, for the woman, she was out of line for saying some racially abusive stuff to a little kid. Because if you are just saying stuff about little kids like that, then you seriously have a moral compass issue that's also going on within you too. And then you're also in a very dangerous place if you don't feel conviction.
Yeah.
So, people who are threatening that woman's life, leave her alone. Leave her alone. Leave her kid alone. Leave her son alone. Leave her man alone. Do not mess with her family. No. Shame on you if you do. But at the same time, Shiloh, girl, you are very much out of line with that. And you really have to take accountability for that. Okay? Because that what you did, still despicable, regardless of how much you want to try to justify that. You're out of line with that. And you actually have to feel some kind of regret for that.
And all because
not, and neither does who are threatening her family.
Yeah, and all because allegedly the 5-year-old took something from her child. Whatever happened with actually speaking to the child's parents?
I'm going to be honest and say this: little kids are going to act like little kids, right? Please, in preschool, we were taking stuff from each other all the time. But did we spew out abusive language towards one another? Absolutely not. Otherwise, we would get reprimanded.
And this is going to sound weird, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm more patient with children because children are going to act childish. But when you have people who are supposedly adults acting childish, that's where I have a huge problem.
Exactly. One thing I can say this though, and this is something that Miss Lily is probably already familiar with, but I already have a feeling that there's already going to be who's going to make a comment about that woman who did that to that little kid. Honestly, my response to him, I'm like, dude, shut up if you do that, because you're not really all that different from her, though, because you spend your time calling black people a bunch of slurs, too, though. So how does that make you any different? So till you can correct your own language, don't speak about somebody else's similar language, Jose?
Yeah, I hear you. But there's going to be, but this individual make his colorful commentary, what have you.
Yeah, I'm just like saying that, you're being anti-black. Oh, stiffen that. I mean, I already have a feeling he might say something about, Miss Elite. You know who I'm talking about, though? I'm just like, dude, don't even try to comment about that woman, though, when you don't sound all that different from her, though. It's that you may not say the hard R, though, but other slurs still, like ape and gorilla or Harambe. Yeah, so don't even go there. Stop.
And let me tell you something. And one thing I will say about the African American community, which I admire, which is the resiliency that they exhibit, particularly considering what they went through. The fact that for about 250 years there was victims of chattel slavery, and then you have segregation and things of that nature. So they experience a great deal of resilience, and that's something that I admire.
Absolutely. Surviving. Oh, well, let me read Miss Elite's quote before I comment on what you said. So she says, "A black woman calls black men apes, but got mad at me claiming I had a racist on my panel. People pick and choose." Yeah, Miss Elite, that kind of hypocrisy is just very laughable. That's just some very laughable hypocrisy. That's just very stupid.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, whoever that black woman, Miss Elite, was, whoever she was, I don't see why she got mad, though, when she doesn't really look or sound that different from whoever was on your panel. So it's not any different. So you can't really sit here and hoop and holler about somebody else when you don't really sound all that different from them. So unless you're going to correct your own language and hold yourself accountable, then you will be able to righteously hold somebody else accountable, as long as you're not doing what they're doing.
That is so true.
Yeah, like that guy who called a black woman Harambe. I'm like, everybody knows who Harambe is, though. He was that gorilla who was shot because he was dragging around a 3-year-old kid. We all remember that story of Harambe, though, but somebody calls a black woman Harambe, but then complains about somebody else being racist towards blacks. I'm like, dude, didn't you just call a black woman an ape? Don't be disingenuous. We all know that it's just another anti-black slur, so don't hoop and holler about somebody else being anti-black as well. Busted once again. Busted, Miss Elite. Man, Miss Elite, people are getting busted. Busted for their own hypocrisy.
Yeah. But I find it bizarre that people talking about why Miss Elite doesn't cam up. I mean, first of all, it's her channel. She does whatever the fluff she wants.
Well, I cam up. Here I am right now in the kitchen. You want to know? Well, I will even show you exactly what I just cooked. This is for me and Zeus. Dog. Cooked us some chicken. Now, I will tell you this. It is bland, by the way, but obviously I cannot put any seasonings on Zeus's food.
Correct.
That's for dogs. But no, here I am. Because also, Miss Elite, my platform, my streets are called the transparency streets. So we will tell it like it is. We will share our testimonies. We will talk about what inspired us to embark upon this transformative journey. We'll be honest about what happened in our past and what happened then and what ultimately led us to here. And I guess when it comes to the racial stuff, yeah, we will definitely even put out like our genealogy, which shows you like what we are, where we're from, all that stuff. So all that stuff is already on my page. So there we go. And then not only that, but we look what we claim to be. So there we go. Transparency Crew.
Actually, you know what, Miss Ali, I would love to have an opportunity to meet Femi. I mean, she seems to be kind of like slightly elder version of yourself.
Right. Nice. You said nice. Yeah. And also, I know what Miss Elite looks like, though. I mean, Miss Elite, also, your video is already out there where we all saw your face anyway. So I'm just not going to share that. If people want to see what you look like, they have to find it for themselves. But I know you're out there too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, I find it really bizarre how people go after certain creators.
Yeah. Lead finds that funny. You want to know something though? Like people
Yeah.
say that well, at least they're being racist towards their own. Well, it's actually worse because for
Yeah.
somebody else, though, you would probably expect them to turn on you though, but you wouldn't expect your own to turn on you. And just kind of watch what that level of trust is going to do to your community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So may I
Well,
ask,
hey, I mean,
it to be more acceptable if you're calling your own people a bunch of vulgar slurs and everything, though, but when somebody else says what you just said, then it's a problem. Don't you see that as being pretty problematic?
yeah, I do. I do. But
Kind of like a clan with a tan.
yep, I agree. But it's us that that's why I refer to the collector as the circus because they act like a bunch of clowns.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes, indeed.
so I wonder what's going to be the latest fluffery our ops will be directing towards us.
Oh, TBD.
What's that?
TBD, to be determined.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, look, the latest is that my family's dead, or correction, that I'm undocumented.
Oh, speaking about that, oh, Miss Elite. Miss Elite, are you still there, though?
I think she's still there.
Yeah, Miss Elite, though, it's just what some of our haters just say about us. It's funny, though. We get a huge kick out of everything they say about us.
Well, let me just bring you, Miss Elite, up to speed regarding some of the stuff that some of the ops have been saying about me. Let's see, that I'm a racist. I have an STD. I'm broke. I'm lonely. No one loves me. I'm senile. And I'm a self hating, light skinned Latino. Oh, and Georgia is it's a Nazi.
who's broke and everything, all that, and this, that, and the third, you know.
And that he's harassing ladies of the evening.
And that all of a sudden I must be pimping them because of all the money here. Even though a lot of this goes back to the streets. Oh, somebody might even get blessed with a 20 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Really depends, okay? But it's not counterfeit because it's actually illegal to be in possession of counterfeit, okay? So, yeah, I'm broke, all right. Broke as a joke, you know? Even though right there, yeah, Miss Elites, it's thousands because some of the haters say that, oh, Jordan, he is so broke. He brokety broke, so broke that if somebody tried robbing him, they would just be practicing. Well, not really. Not really.
Okay. Now they're probably gonna say that you are a pimp, that you gotten all this money from the ladies of the evening.
Say that again, Jose.
That basically you got all this money because you are a pimp from the ladies of the evening.
Okay, yeah, Miss Elite. I guess I'm a pimp, and all this money that's coming in is from the ladies whom I'm pimping. Okay, interesting. I haven't heard that yet, but I'm waiting for it, Jose. I'm waiting for it. I would love.
You know it's gonna come. You know it's gonna come.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm already saying that. I'm targeting. Oh, I'm targeting. All right, so I think Miss Elite. I mean, she already seen my video, so she already is aware of what I do with my street life ministries. You know, so she's already.
Yes.
I think she's already aware.
Yes.
But yeah, they are
Yes.
among those who I am witnessing to, and they get blessed as they are going to be tomorrow.
Yes. How dare you? How dare you, Giorgio, harass the ladies of the evening with the gospel of Jesus Christ?
And I donate plasma because I'm broke. Even though much of it goes back to the street. Man, these are some funny people now. I still love them, Jose. I still pray for them, but they say some funny stuff, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Miss Elite, that's why I refer to the collector as the circus, because they act like a bunch of clowns.
Oh my God.
But
some funny stuff, Jose. Oh, if anybody feels that I'm really so Miss Elite, if George or here is getting all this money coming in because he's a pimp, could you please call the police? Even though you're going to find that George or here doesn't even have a record, because I can tell that some people were looking me up, hoping that I have like a mugshot somewhere, though, but they were pretty surprised that did not pop up, Miss Elite, because I have never been arrested before in my life. I've never had issues with authority, unlike some of these morons who like to Google me up and everything. So yeah, Miss Elite, isn't that funny, though, that I can tell that a lot of these people are really going on to places like truthfinder.com. I saw that. I'm like, you're not going to find anything. I've never committed crimes, and I've never had any issues with authority. A lot of the stuff that I said in my past, yes, it was very reckless. Am I repentant about that? Yes. But any detective or Fed is going to tell you they can't do much with George Orr from that time because it's under freedom of speech. And me talking some mess at the time, let me tell you this. In real life, I wouldn't want that kind of trouble or that kind of smoke, by the way. So I may have talked a lot of my mess at the time, but in real life, I was harmless and was still nice and kind to everybody, even though I was filling my heart with some stuff that should not have been filled with. You know?
And I don't talk about it all this much, but you see, the thing is this: I actually I'm actually am one of the trustees of my union, so it's like you're talking about that I'm broke and all that, and I'm all this. Really?
Right. Mm-hmm. And I was just also wondering, Jose, let me just bring something up. What do you think I should? So maybe give me some ideas for tomorrow night. So for a lady who gets touched, or even a homeless guy too, or whoever I encounter tonight, do you think they should be, hey, Lock Diaries? Hey. So I was wondering.
Hey, good evening. Long time no see.
Long time no see, Lock Diaries. Hey, hey. Good to see you. But what I was saying is, do you think I should bless or bless one with 120 or 100, or should I break up the hundreds or hundreds, so to speak? What do you think I should do, Jose? You think I should break them up?
You know what? I think you do what the Lord leads you to do.
Okay. I will tell you this. So I will break up the 20, put it into a bunch of ones. Maybe get a bunch of 20s out of 100. You get touched.
Okay.
Blessed.
Okay. You know what's going to be the latest? That you're doing it to go to a strip club.
What? Oh, what are they going to say? That George Orr is evangelizing in some of the gentlemen's clubs around here? Say this, you will never find me in a place like that. Not in a million years. Say, what's happening here? You are going to have stalkers up here dancing. No, Lock Diaries. What I was just basically saying is that I use some of the money to give back to the streets. I bless the streets, and I reach prostitutes, homeless, and addicts.
Okay.
And if they really get edified by the word and the gospel, they get blessed.
So basically, what my friend does, he witnesses to the ladies of the evening and the homeless and whatever with the gospel.
That's right.
And then what he does, he blesses them with a little bit of money, either with along with the good news.
Yep, and I actually will give them some food too. Like for this one girl, Shelly, that's her nickname. I'm not saying her real name, but I do hope to encounter Shelly again because if I do, because since she also thanked me for the blessing, because it looks like she told me that she hadn't eaten all day. And so the money I gave her, she used it for food. And because the moment I gave it to her, that's, you said, okay, what do you mean by the gospel? Gospel of Jesus, like informing them about what true love is and helping them feel inspired to recognize their own dignity, that they actually are loved by God and that their self-worth and their self-esteem is not coming from external validation. It comes from God because God loves them more than God loves you more than what he can do for you, or more than what you can do for him, I should say. So there we go. So
I know it's just that. It's just that.
You recognize your own dignity, you get blessed.
Yes, exactly. It's just that, unfortunately, Lord Diaries, is that we have certain individuals that are weird, that cast deflections regarding certain individuals, mainly. Yes. That's what it is.
And Lock Diaries, yes. And now I'm already having my, I guess, ops say that I'm targeting, what is it, sex workers, and that's what else?
No, that you're harassing sex workers.
And I'm harassing sex workers, and I'm harassing homeless people, that I'm targeting them. And I'm not going to be surprised if somebody says that I'm probably a pimp who is quote unquote pretending to be a Christian, because I saw that one too. Just some funny stuff, Locked Diaries, but I still love them and I still pray for them though, because they're lost. And what are lost people going to act like? Lost people.
Well, the same people are saying that I have an STD, that I practice that bad dental hygiene, that I'm broke, that I'm lonely, that no one loves me, and all my family is dead.
Some funny stuff. Like every time I see stuff like that, I hope to see more because I get a massive kick out of it. Okay. It's a win for me, but a loss for them.
Yes.
Because none of that stuff is happening Locked Diaries. So if that stuff were true Locked Diaries, why am I not in prison now? I ought to be in prison now, because if you actually, so look, I'm out here, Las Vegas. Check out Summerlin, Nevada, okay? Summerlin, Nevada, beautiful suburb of Las Vegas, okay? And so, what was I about to say? So it's a beautiful suburb. And there was actually just a pimp out here who was just convicted on all federal counts of what he was doing. If I'm a pimp like him, why am I not in the same cell as him then? Since I guess all that money is coming from another woman's body. Okay. So I would like to know. All that
actually, because you're bribing the judge for all that money.
I'm bribing the judge all of this. So I'm bribing the judge all of this, right? Okay. And this money came from other women's bodies. Okay. All right. I'll remember that. All right. Okay.
And
there's going to be more, by the way, there's going to be more and more of that. It's just going to keep getting bigger. So
yes.
Where's it coming from?
And thank you, Locked Diaries, for sharing the stream. I mean, you know what? I mean, it's, when you think about it, it's funny. It's sad, but it's funny at the same time.
I see you spreading the Lord word on TikTok. Yeah, I'm on TikTok too. Thank you.
So am I. So am I. I'm on TikTok too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, all I can say is bless their hearts, because it's like the insanity wagon is left the train station. I mean, what can I say? But
exactly.
in any case, I do have to stop to wrap this up, because unlike certain people, we have lives outside YouTube, and I mean, we're not going to do like an 8-hour roastathon stream like Mister's talking about doing. Oh, wait a minute, he can't do that because he has no platform.
Oh yeah. And then that all of a sudden that it's a problem that I'm donating plasma. Oh, you guys want to see my badge of honor? Right here. See that? Oh, sorry. Should be, let's see, right there. I don't know. Can you see that scar? See that? That's where I get poked every weekend.
But remember, you're doing this because you're broke, and you're harassing sex workers.
Okay.
And you're harassing a therapist
who was terrified of me. even though
Yes.
that they're being that therapist, we're just talking. Okay.
Yeah, well, thank you, Lord Dollars, for stopping by. Have a good weekend.
Have a good day. Other than that, though, we love our. And I know we got to wrap up though, but Lock Diaries, we still love our haters and everything. We love them very much, though. I do pray for them. I do pray for their redemption and their well-being. It's just there's nothing wrong with getting a kick out of the stuff that they say. There's nothing wrong with it. It makes my day every time. It does. It does. So
Yeah, yeah.
at the same time, it's a huge win for us, me and Jose, but a loss for them. But keep on going though. But
And speaking about loss, I mean, a huge shout out to my supporters. The fact, even my ops, which is basically my secret supporters. I'm up to 614 subs, and I'm getting close to 300,000 views. So.
Oh my God. Well, we'll Lock Diaries. If you have to go, miss, you have a fabulous Friday and peace and blessings to you.
Yes.
And Jesus saves. Jesus loves you. He loves you more than what you can do for him. Bring him into your heart and he will transform you the same way that he transformed me.
Yes. So, any final remarks regarding this interesting stream?
Funny. I had a good time. I had fun. And we have to do it again.
Well, that's what happens when we have open discussion. It can go anywhere. I mean, really.
Exactly.
But in any case, I really did enjoy this. I think this was a good stream. I kind of miss some of the other people who used to come here, but you know what? They can always catch it on the playback, and other people have lives. So,
Oh,
that,
no!
yeah.
By the way, since I'm so broke, why do I have a place like this? Also, if I don't pay, I can't have this anymore. So, yeah, I'm so broke as a joke.
Yes, and you are harassing sex workers with the gospel.
Well, it's going to get active tomorrow night, so join me. It's going to get active. Well, not tonight, tomorrow night.
Okay. Well, the next time I'm going to be live is going to be Sunday night. What's going to be the topic? I don't know. We'll see. But in any case, it was a real pleasure having this little chat with you and basically, laugh. I mean, we should laugh at other people's expenses, but I mean, it's funny when you think about it.
Yeah. Lock Diary, she just asked me what's happening tomorrow night. Yeah, Locked tomorrow night. I'm going to talk to some more of the ladies of the evening or the ladies of the night, if you know what I mean.
In other words, he's going to harass more people with the gospel.
Yep. Bless some more ladies of the night with the gospel. And when they really get touched, they get financially blessed.
Yes. Well, thank you very much for stopping by. And of course, I'm going to close the same way we always close over here. We must do everything possible to avoid the presence of the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by their stupidity and massive insanity and extreme delusion as well. With that being said, this has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron and with George R. And just would say, have a good weekend, stay blessed, and peace.